All right, we're starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Circle Club. I'm Tyrone. Today I have two very, very special guests, and we are talking, as you saw, about One Piece. We have a first-time watcher, which I cannot wait to dive into with, and then we have our expert, Mr. Yaolito, as you all know. Let's get into it. All right, everyone. Hello, welcome back to the Circle Club. As I said below, we have on my left here Miss Jamie Lee in the front row. Excuse me. Woo. How you doing?
Tongue twister, doing great. Thanks for having me on. I can't wait to chat One Piece.
Absolutely, yeah. Same thing happened to you when I was on your channel the other day. And then we have Yaolito, Big Thunk, as he goes by nowadays. Jumping on another jet, who is our expert. Let's just jump right into it, folks. So, first time watcher reaction, Jamie Lee, you said you never watched the anime, but you loved it. So, talk to me about that a little bit. It's all right, we got a little guest in the back there.
Thankfully, she just shut the door. I was like, I just want to chuck something at him and it's not
No.
Get out! I've told you for 10 minutes.
She's adorable. Love her. No, it's okay, but of course. But yeah, tell us. What do you think?
Yeah, as you know, you and I watched my very first anime together, one episode of One Piece, and that's about as far as I got. So when I saw that it was coming to live action, I thought, this really is for me because I haven't watched it. I'm not going to enjoy it. I don't know anything. And then I was like, not forced, but encouraged to watch episode 1, and oh my gosh, it was like episode 1 went straight to episode 4, like we smashed through 4 episodes.
Wow,
yeah,
4 hours.
Really good. We loved it.
That's epic. And then just quick for you, I mean, you've been in this since you were a kid, right?
Yeah. So I started watching One Piece in the 9th grade, and the 9th grade for me, I have to clarify now because I realize I'm getting old. The 9th grade for me was 2009.
Wow, yeah.
One Piece for 14 years now.
Jeez, that's insane. I can't believe.
I'm with the gods.
The gods. Literally, yeah. This is a god for sure. Yeah, and my introduction was with of course, last year, 450 days ago. Who's counting? And I just sped through this thing, man. 1,000 episodes, 71, and then we had this huge big epic episode happened a couple weeks ago, and I made it just in time, and it was just fantastic. But Jamie Lee, I'm just curious, for you as someone who has no background whatsoever, what was your impression of this world? Because to me, I get it, it's super bizarre, it's out there, weird, but what did you think? Did you think it was gonna be more like Pirates of the Caribbean, or give me your thoughts?
But it wasn't so, I guess you could say, dark. The tone wasn't really very dark. It was really, the word that I keep using to describe it, and it's so childish, but it's delightful. All of the characters are really likable.
Yeah.
The scene is, even though it's on scene, it's supposed to be piratey, it's very light. Visually, even to look at, it was really light. And then even when we got, the darkest thing is when we got to, was it not Klaus Kleodor?
Kobe?
Oh, yeah.
No, the vampire.
Oh, yeah.
The butcher?
Yep.
With his claws? That was the darkest. Salvador, that's it.
The names will take you forever because I still can't get the names, so don't worry about that.
Yeah, some of the names I can't remember, but, that was the darkest thing that we got in that episode, so...
Yeah,
I like the characters. I thought the actors were fantastic. So
I know, definitely. I agree there. For me, I didn't know how people would react to it because I feel like there's so many different genres with One Piece that I just was the thing that made me nervous about it was I was okay, there's so many different characters, and from our perspective, it's you got one episode, and for us, that's 12. Episode 1 is almost 12 episodes, so we were just all Are they gonna get it? Because that's 12 episodes of content. What did you think? Yeah. What was like your nerves about for the first?
Pacing as well.
Yeah.
Especially considering episode 1 that has to be done right. I understand like episode 1 is two different things. If you look at chapter 1 versus episode 1 of the anime, depending on which direction they decided to go. It got me very nervous, but I think they nailed it, especially with the intro of Luffy looking at the camera, getting ready to go on his first adventure, hopping in the barrel, just showing how crazy he was. I think they nailed it right on the head.
Yeah, something.
That's exactly how I remembered the episode watching with you, Tyrone. I was
like,
I've seen this.
Yeah.
Like, well done. That was great.
What was your reaction to like see? Because I mean, it's interesting. We watch Marvel, right? And in Marvel, we've always seen the animations and the video games, the comics, and like I feel like at this point we're now used to Marvel, where they like introduce someone new, and we're like we kind of expect it. We it's natural for us. Did it feel weird for either of you to like see that jump from like an anime cartoon sort of thing to live action?
It was definitely weird for me, just taking the actual anime in consideration because, like Jamie Lee, you said that it was very light and bright. I thought it was a contrast, like a darker picture.
Same. I
was like, whoa, Buggy's circus was like really dark and eerie. Even Buggy, the way he looked was very dark and eerie. Even though, like, if you watch the anime, if the anime was drawn differently, it would fit that style like perfectly because Buggy was a threat. Like he was basically holding this town hostage.
Yeah.
They captured that essence very well in a realistic way. So it was cool seeing how the dark moments and like how you mentioned before, Godfather being Captain Kuro, like it was a big twist in the anime, but it was so light, and when they brought the darkness to it, it made it so real. So I really liked it.
Yeah, it felt like a horror at some point. And like, what's weird is like when I watched One Piece, at least how I remember it, I think like I remember it being very light in the beginning, very fun, very bouncy, and then like this live, like even like Luffy, the one thing that's not like canon, but I feel like it might be now is like when Luffy like gets his scar, we actually don't know that. That's not something we see in the anime. So that was something that they added, and that was kind of a nice touch. But it was very dark because, like Yao said, you're like, whoa, like, I mean, Luffy's crazy and he's a little bit of a psycho, but like that was like, it kind of threw me off for a bit, But it still worked. I
love the comedy in it because straight after that, he's like, Shanks was like, you're so lucky you could have got your eye. He's like, I was trying to, I missed.
And what's crazy about that line too, now that you just said that, there is some symbolism behind like the eye thing there, which is wild. Like, and that just goes to me as someone who watched the anime. That was like something I really appreciated. It felt like the writers, the people involved, that you can tell that they were fans, and like, but it wasn't fan service. It was like, oh, let's give them some deep cuts that like people who know it will be like, oh wow, but like. As you said, like for you, Jamie Lee, you're like, it felt not as dark, I guess, as you potentially you thought, which that's a fascinating take. I didn't think you would say that.
I mean, I've just come from watching like Dead City and Twisted Metal, so probably just got as twisted is maybe what I'm getting at. I don't know.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, you mentioned to me offline that there was a couple of characters that like stood out that you liked. Was there any characters that you really loved?
All of them. Zoro's my favorite. He's emotionless.
Of course, you love Zoro. Of course, you love Zoro. Yeah. She loves a badass, like
Give me a bad boy and I'm sold. He was great. Obviously, everybody loves Luffy, and I really love that the actor. I don't know his name, sorry, but he goes from playing this sweet, innocent, delightful. He feels like a child. He feels like so fun to be around.
Yeah.
When you mess with his friends, like the shift in his face, he just gets so serious so quick that you think, oh, this kid's actually like scary.
Yeah. Did you? By the way, I forgot to ask you. Did you end up finishing it yet? I mean, how much do you have left?
Yeah, we did.
You finished?
Yeah.
Okay.
We thumbed it.
Excellent. No, that's it. That's excellent because it's 8 hours. So like that was another thing. I was kind of like which is awesome. I did the same thing. I finished it basically in a day. I watched it with We did this big premiere, and then like I went home at like midnight, and I was like, God, I got work the next day, but I had to get one more episode in. Yeah.
Like most people started going home after you left.
Yeah.
I sat there, just me in the middle of in the middle of my backyard, just cranking them out. Like I was just like, wow.
Amazing. Yeah, it was incredible. I love that you love Zoro too, because I feel like Zoro, I don't know how you felt, but Zoro is definitely different in the anime, not entirely, but like in some of the this first saga, he doesn't talk as much. He's a bit more reserved, I think. But like the line that they gave him were very fitting for him. Did you feel that way at all, Yao?
I felt like Zoro was the most accurate as far as like in like how they were during the East Blue Saga versus in the live action. Like it was 1-to-1 to me, and they added so much more to his character where they alluded to certain scenes like the Mr. 17 in the beginning, which was his introduction, which was so cool.
Which is crazy. That's a deep cut. That's a deep cut.
In the anime, but they actually showed it in the live action, which was really cool. So I think Zoro was done like a 10 out of 10 perfect. Like we can't mess Zoro up. Like I think that was their mission.
Yeah, I think he really nailed it for me. One character I was nervous about a little bit was Nami, because like Nami is like she's like the older sister of the crew, and like I think she also like is like Luffy, you're an idiot. She'll like punch them in the head. That was the one thing I wish that we got a little bit like more of like her, because she does this thing in anime that's so funny, and like Luffy will say something and he's so strong, but then she'll just like punch him in the face and his whole face will be busted up and blistered. And it'll be funny because it's like, Luffy's like one of the strong characters out there, right? And then it's like this small girl, Nami, can always knock him out. But yeah, no, she really did a really great job. But Kobe was a character that I really liked too. And I go back and forth because a lot of what Kobe does is not in the anime, but it still felt like the heart and soul, if that makes sense. Did you like Kobe at all, Jamie Lee?
I feel like there's going to be some sort of a relationship that they're building up to there. You guys know more than me, but yeah, I feel like they were pushing that. But I do like that he's kept his morals, like he's by what he believes in, and I think that's very much like Luffy, and I think that's why everybody sort of loves them, because they stand their ground, even when you don't expect them to, because they're like tiny little, you think they'd be a pushover, but
right. Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah, and I thought that was a strong point, too, to kind of show, like, even though I'm in the Marines, I have my own sort of code. And I really like that line from Garp, where he's kind of like, just because, following orders doesn't make you a Marine, it's having your own code. I really, really liked that line. I thought that was a strong point.
Yeah.
Was there any moment, did you have something to say there?
Like you said, Kobe was definitely very different from the anime as far as like his presence in the East Blue. I started thinking, and I just started thinking about it now, especially that Dame Lee's here, like the stock that Oda is placing on Kobe right now. Like that will cash in tremendously because people love Kobe from the live action. Oh my gosh, just you wait to 3 weeks ago we got an amazing Kobe chapter. Like,
we really
Kobe.
So,
Kobe was a great character to kind of develop early on
to
get potential fans invested.
Yeah, and that would be like maybe like episode like 1090 or something, so like
more like
maybe 1100.
I would guess 1120 or something like that. Like and
the thing is though, Jamie Lee, like they're so bite-sized, and like if you like this live action and you bust through 8 hours of that, like I don't know, I find it impossible that you couldn't just go to the next sort of part of this and start like watching, and it's not like a big commitment. I'm not gonna push it though. But
you'll. I think it's just the
Yeah.
Like I connect so much more to live action.
Yeah, and I think that's what I love. Yeah, no, and that's what I love about them doing this is that it gives you the chance to enter this world that you know so many people love. But we are cultists. There's no question. This is a cult, in that like, you're gonna like Marley, who's also on our channel frequently. He refuses to watch the live action until he gets through the East Blue Saga, and he's like, he started about like a week ago, and he's like, all right, if I finish, by Saturday, I'll have like about 40 episodes, like, and that's kind of what it does to you. You kind of get done in this rat race. But Miss Jamie Lee, one of my questions I had for you was there anything that sort of alarmed you, or maybe you didn't love, or you were kind of like, about in this first season?
I said I loved all of the characters because I've never met them before, so it was really exciting seeing them. But the one that I do remember is Alvida. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Yeah. When we watched that anime one together,
yeah,
I remember her being like really like big,
yeah,
scary. Like she looked not gross, but she looked like a freak. And the one in the live action, I was like, this girl's like partially hot. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Kind of woman. Like,
Yeah.
God, make her scary looking, make her like huge. I was a little bit disappointed when I saw her. I was like, oh man, she's like the big scary pirate. She's like someone I'd see at a nightclub,
Yeah, I know.
I don't know what nightclubs I go to look like that, but anyway.
I think they added a lot of her scary in her actions. Like, like she sets the climate of how that whole rest of the anime was gonna go. Like the blood splattering when she.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. Like, I agree with you. I thought Alvida wasn't initially intimidating. Yeah.
And
I gotta say though, on top of what Yao just said, they didn't hold back from the gore. Like at one point there, when you see Buggy's head just get decapitated, I was like, oh, they ain't playing around. And said, like with the smashing and the blood, and like they really weren't afraid to show gore. Like it wasn't gore.
Yeah.
It was like it was something like Dead City or something. But
right. Yeah.
They weren't afraid to shy away. They didn't shy away from that.
That shocked me a little bit because I wasn't expecting that, and I was like, oh, okay, I kind of liked that. It was kind of cool. But yeah, I like Alvida. I was honestly expecting her to be really large, and I kind of wanted her to be really large, and like a plus size actress. But like, I mean, it still worked. But like you said, Jamie Lee, it was kind of like, yeah, this girl is thick. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like she wasn't like a big mama that we thought. And like that's kind of what I wanted there. But. Like you said, like it still was pretty intimidating to have her like smash her head there. That was crazy. Let's jump into this just season 1 overall. So Yao, you being a longtime fan, you told me, you said, man, I'm so happy. Thank you, Oda. Right now, this is #1 show in like 83 countries. It surpassed I think Wednesday and Stranger Things, which is crazy. This is like a phenomenon right now. I'm like, whoa. Both of you, I'm curious, was there like a standout episode that you really, really liked in this season? Jamie Lee?
Yes, 2. So Buggy's one, I really liked. Firstly, I liked that when I didn't expect to because I don't like clowns. But Peter had so much charisma, and I don't know, I just felt like it was really fun, but it was also super dark because you've got these poor people who their town has taken over. He's literally holding them hostage. I don't know. There was just something to it. It was really creepy, but also really good. And I loved how we got the full circle moment of you can hurt me, but you can't hurt my friends, like at the very end, when he was in the tank and things like that. That was probably my favorite episode, and obviously the last one, we go through all that emotional stuff with Nami, and just to see them all uniting at the end there, and I loved that scene. I can't remember what they called it around the barrel, and they all put their feet up and said what they
iconic scene.
And that just got me. Like my heart was like, this is so beautiful. The fact that they transitioned from saying it from when they were young, which we saw in earlier episodes.
Yeah. Yep.
And then have them have that same dream as adults, young adults, whatever you want.
Yeah, young adults. Yeah.
So emotional, dude. That was a beautiful, beautiful scene. I love that.
I'm so glad that you said that. That is like when I think about the East Blue Saga, like from the anime perspective, I see that image. Like that's the image that stands out in my head. Like, this is it. This is the crew. I love these folks. It's interesting that you said that about Nami, because one thing in like that sort of bothered me was I felt in the anime that Nami's scene was much more powerful and like a lot more makes you like want to cry. So I'm really glad to hear that you thought that. Like that makes me excited. And one thing that they switched is that Luffy knows about her like background and being all this stuff in the anime. I mean, excuse me, in the live action, but in the anime, he doesn't know why she's crying, why she's upset. All he knows is my friend is mad, and I'm gonna go help her out. And I felt that's one thing that they should have kept, because it kind of shows to what you said, Jamie Lee, about Luffy. What you like is that he's just there for his friends no matter what, you know.
It would be a little bit disconnecting though if we didn't know that. Like, we don't, as an audience who hasn't seen that, we don't know that backstory. So I think
exactly.
if they didn't have Luffy like know it all, we wouldn't know it all, and it would
be exactly.
Because like I think the hard part about selling One Piece to like a
mainstream audience
or a casual Netflix watcher is you have to make it make sense.
Right.
Luffy's actions early on is just kind of like out of intuition and whim, and you can't, people are going to be wondering, oh, like you barely know this girl. Like,
right.
Why would you just go out in the women's favor?
Exactly. Yeah, and that's why I think, and that's kind of where I mean, like, where I'm like, when you're comparing the anime, the manga, and live action, it's like you kind of can and you can't, because it makes more sense to do it this way. So like you said, Jamie Lee, where you get that background. What were a couple of the standout episodes that you really liked, or was there one in particular?
For me, definitely Mihawk. Mihawk was tremendous.
Ooh, wow. When he split the ship, bro, wow.
Oh, man. They gave him like a whole highlight reel, like it was incredible. And I was nervous because they completely, like in one go, eliminated one of the major villains, like that was like the gate to the East Blue before Arlong, because like what is his name? I forgot his name, but he fights against Luffy, and his subordinate Jin, which they captured that part, goes into the Baratier hungry, trying to eat, and eats him anyways, and they still try to hijack the Baratier. So, one thing that he says is like, oh, I'm the strongest person in East Blue, and the Grand Line is treacherous. He says like he loses over 100 men trying to cross the Grand Line when he met Mihawk, and so he wrapped that whole moment in just Mihawk slaying him down, which I thought was incredible. But when Mihawk and Zoro started fighting, it was captured exactly how I imagined.
In the anime, it was like 1-to-1. I was
1-to-1. Like, incredible.
I couldn't have imagined it any better, to be honest with you. Like, it was, they just blew my expectations away with that.
And it was cool how they let that moment linger with Zoro's injury. Like, like Luffy was looking over Zoro on the bed. And they, like, you could tell the care that Zoro had, Luffy has with Zoro being his first mate. So I think they did it's gonna be controversial. I think they might have done a better job with capturing Luffy and Zoro's relationship.
That's what I'm saying.
Than the anime or manga.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, that's what I was saying to start this out, where I was like, I feel like they added some stuff to Zoro here, where I was like, it's not quite 1-to-1, but it feels 1-to-1. You know what I mean? It feels like that makes sense. One thing I really loved in that scene too was when Zoro. That was always one of my favorite, like, all-time One Piece moments. Is when Mihawk clearly beats him. Zoro is like, I'm not gonna turn around because, like, that's just not what a samurai. Yeah. I love that, and so he just takes it. So he gets these scars on his chest, and I was like, oh, it was just such a badass moment. And then the fact Mihawk refused to kill him because he's like, this kid has balls. Like, man, I like this kid, And when I was watching that, Jamie Lee, all I could think about was like, if you're watching this, I was like, oh, Jamie Lee is going to like love Zoro. Right up your alley. Right up your alley.
Up my alley. He's got balls, I like him. That's the thing that really wraps up that scene, and Mihawk could respect that, like he's like, he appreciates that and shows respect for that. So that was a
Yeah.
good scene as well.
Yeah, it's almost like it reminded him as a kid or when he was coming up or something. You know, you could tell
Like he wants to see what's going to be coming.
what's next. Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, I want to see what happens to you. Man, oh God, I wish you could watch the anime because, yeah, I know exactly. You're in my head. Man, what about? Oh, a billion, 1 billion, 2 billion. No, one of my favorite scenes was with Sanji. That really made me sad when he was a kid. In that moment where he's like sitting there, and I thought that was a really good, like, close to the anime sort of one-to-one moment too, where you're watching this poor kid who's starving. He's like got these bruises on his face, and then you find out that Zeph like eats his own leg, and you're like, it was gruesome, dude. Yeah, but it was gruesome. But that's what.
The way they opened the bag too, like when the treasure just came out, like I can imagine people just watching it for the first time, like, whoa, what?
Right. Yeah.
I watched it thinking, okay, he's kept the food for when the kid comes and the kid starves after he's eaten all his food, because I assumed the kid was eating it every day. And I thought, he's kept the food for the kid. That's so sweet. And then they zoom into the leg, and I'm like, oh God, all right, yeah, we're going hard.
Yeah. And that's what I love about One Piece in general is like there's these nice payoff moments like that, and like Sanji knows and Zeph knows, he's like, you don't belong here. You need to go. Like, go follow your dream. Go find the all blue like I did, right? Or try to like I did. But like you use the word honor, Jamie Lee, and I think that's kind of like the foundation of all the characters is honor. And there's a sense of honor to Zeph that Sanji has. Like, I can't leave this guy. I can't leave him because, you know, he helped me when no one else would. And then you see this cool backstory where those two are, like, on the ship and, like, he's raiding the ship, but he still helps him anyways because he's like, everyone's dead. It's just us two. But he still helps him. And that's I really thought that was, like, one of my favorite moments. Now, before we let Jamie Lee go and get into season 2 here, Jamie Lee, was there anything from this season or like you really want to see next season in season 2 here? I'm just curious as someone who's like a first-time watcher. Please don't say romance between the crew.
Not between the crew, but God, I'd like romance. I feel like they're building something that was Kobe. I don't know. Anyway, romance
they may.
That I always want, but that's not what I want here. I'm really curious to meet more characters because I feel like when I go into shows like this, and this is very much like Twisted Metal, like they have these individual like chapters.
Yes.
You start with a character and they get an arc, but they don't necessarily die. Like they don't kill them off, but they just get rid of them for that sort of episode or whatever. It's
like sex education, like that formula where they like give like if you have your main characters, but then it's like everyone has like their moments throughout the season.
Yeah. Like we started with Alvida, and then we don't really see much, and then obviously we're going to see a little bit more of her soon. But all of those villains, you know, like we had Buggy, and then we had I keep calling him a vampire, but you know, the butler.
Yeah.
Because I
Kobogoshu or something.
I loved all of them, and I feel like they wrapped their story up really neatly. So I'm curious to meet other people who they wrap up neatly. Yeah, the villains are like, I would put these villains like up there with like Batman's villains. I think Batman has the best villains. And like I feel like these villains can go one-to-one with them. There's some really fun, creative villains, and I think in this next season, if you thought this season was Pirates of the Caribbean, I think next season will be like Narnia to you. I think it may be a little bit more like Chronicles of Narnia, a little bit more fantasy, a little bit more out there. So I'm very excited. Definitely we're going to have you come back when season 2 drops after the writers and actors get paid a fair wage and strike is over. But Miss Jamie Lee, do you have anything else to say before we let you go back to your life? No. All right. And this was like a woohoo!
Tell us.
We should all put our feet on a barrel and check out our dreams.
Yeah, right. Jamie Lee, tell the people where they can find you. Tell them what you got going on.
Yeah, I'm actually doing a One Piece thing with Tyrone next week on my channel to talk about that. So we're going to pretty much do this all over again. And then I'm going to be covering Daryl Dixon and also Gen V over on my channel as well. So I do a little bit of gaming, I do movie reactions, TV show reactions, reviews, and lucky enough to interview some of the people when the strike is not on, of course, who have worked on those movies and TV shows. So yeah, head on over to my YouTube or any of the socials in the front row YT.
Absolutely. Miss Jamie Lee, thank you so much for coming on, and I'm so glad that you're on this One Piece journey. Yeah, you have no idea. You have no idea, and now you're stuck forever.
I've joined the club.
Yeah. We'll see you in season 10 when this show finally is over in 30 years.
I did want to ask. So if this is 1,000, right?
Yeah.
And season 1 was however many. How many seasons do you think that they could make out of this? Do you reckon?
Somebody actually mapped it out. It was 16 to the current point. So 16 seasons to get to where we are right now.
My
Walking Dead was long?
my guess is if I know Netflix, I think that it'll be 8 seasons. I think they'll cut that in half. They're gonna condense some parts. They're not gonna give us the One Piece fans. They want 16. They want 32. They want if it was up to them, this season would have probably there's a lot that we didn't even get in this season, to be honest with you, that they were serious about. But no, yeah, it'll probably be 16 seasons. But they've invested a lot of money into this project, so season 2 is definitely going to happen. There's no question about that, especially with these numbers. But yeah, like I said, can't wait to have you come back. Thank you for coming on my channel. I love you to death, and we'll see you then. And as we always say, just be you. Yes, ma'am. All right. Let me fix the screen here for a moment. Let me get me on here. We'll get back into it for a second. There we go. All right. Yeah, my man. Now we can really get into the meat. So before we can get into season 2, now we're talking spoilers. So if you haven't caught up, you're not in Wano with us in Vegapunk, then you may want to pause for a second, because I think we should just go there. Man, season 1, was there anything for you that you're like, they blew it, they should have added this, or any change? Garp, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think I understand why. Just to have that, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader moment, just to give something to the fans early on to keep them hooked on. But I don't think the execution was right. He should have been a little bit more menacing and shown to be more like Luffy in a way. Instead, he was just this authoritarian and the sole authoritarian, because we didn't really see the power of the world government in the moment. Yeah. He is the authority.
It felt like I'm right there with you. I get what they were going for. One thing that really just didn't sit right with my soul was the fact that the audience knows that that's Luffy's grandfather. I felt like they could have did all the same stuff without letting us know that was his grandfather. But I think, as Jamie Lee mentioned earlier, for that audience, they want that. They needed that to kind of understand the dynamic. Why would he let him go? Or why is he so invested in this character, Luffy? Because, and I think a lot of this has to do with budget restrictions. Even though they had a huge budget, they built these sets, and you can tell that's why this worked, right? This isn't CGI and stuff, right? And I think there's sort of a limitation, because if they had unlimited budget, then I think we would have maybe gotten Garp to step back a little bit, and as you said, have other people involved. But right now, it seems like this fixation on Garp wanting to go after Luffy, and it's well, aren't there other pirates? Why do you care so much, right? And so I think for the Netflix audience, it's oh, that's his grandson. But I
understood it, for the same reason too. And you think about it too, there's a chance this could only be one season. So
right.
With having the best moments he can in season 1, that'll get people to watch season 2.
Yeah.
Giving up that info early on, that's fine. I just think the integrity to the character Garp was lost.
I agree.
As far as being like jolly, like Luffy.
Yes.
But at the same time, very stern and with the Marines.
And what's weird is I feel like there was moments they could have done that because like when Kobe visits him in the office, right? He should have been like a little bit more drunk and a little ha ha ha, come sit down, ha ha. But like we didn't get that, and I think it's because they wanted to show like the seriousness. But what they did a good job with, I will say, in my opinion, was the relationship with Garp and Kobe, and like this sort of investment of like. Just because I have my way, that doesn't mean it's the only way, And I think Garp kind of does that a bit in the anime, in the beginning, where he's like, but he disciplines them because he's like, you still got to listen to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I feel like
even then too, it's like it felt like it was Garp, Hamapo, and Kobe, and then there was like the other Marines in the background, but like those were that was the Marines, like.
Right.
It didn't feel like they were a big force that was looming over the world. It feels like these pirates are the authorities.
Yeah, we could have used a couple dozen CGI Marine ships, but I think the thing too, right? This is where it gets tough because it's anime versus live action. It's like in a live action situation, if they had the island really surrounded like that, the way they do in the anime, it's like, how are they getting out of here? What are we talking about? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
even that, like, they maybe not showing it, but alluding to the power of the Marines in ways, like having people fearful or excited that the Marines are coming, or pirates fearful of them in the bars, or something like that.
I feel like I don't know. Yeah, no, I get you. I'm right there. I just feel like I get it was a sacrifice that we almost. We had to have. I don't think it wasn't like we had to have it, but it was like a sacrifice. It was like, okay, this one isn't for us. This is for them. This is for the newbies. And because you guys executed a lot of the other parts really well, like the Mihawk scene, bro, I almost cried because I was like, yo, they went crazy.
Yeah.
They went crazy there,
It was amazing. I was really impressed.
One other thing that... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, the contact kind of threw me for a loop just because they were very, very much contact. But,
yeah, right.
I was willing to look past it because he executed that character flawlessly.
One thing I will say, there's been a little online debate about it, is Garp's shoes with the Air Force One. Bro, I'm not going to lie, I kind of feel like it fit. I'm not going to lie. I was kind of like, yo, they kind of get drippy in One Piece. Like, you know what I mean?
Nike has a big opportunity right now to release the Garp Air Force Ones.
bro, the Garp Marine Force Ones, yo, would be crazy. Yeah, bro, I would buy those immediately. I'm not even a sneakerhead like that. One thing that sort of bothered me too was Shanks. And not his performance or the character. I did like it, but when he uses hockey, I wanted a little bit more there. That was a little underwhelming. Yeah. But, and this is something I was telling your brother, me and him going back and forth about, I feel like, again, us fans, we got to take a breather. We got to take a step back because we know what it could be, but we have to give it a base so we can go somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I did want a little bit more. I wish I would have asked Jamie Lee what her thoughts were on that. Because I'm like, do they think he just intimidated the Sea Dragon, or do they think he had some power?
I think even so, that's fine enough because there was a time where we didn't even know that was hockey. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Shanks was just that guy. He looks at a sea monster and just leaves. So I think
right.
They in keeping that mystery was cool because they could have had the effects and all that, but
yeah. I agree. You convinced me a little bit there. You're right. Because when I first watched it, you're right. I think I was kind of like, I don't know. For some reason, maybe I was just like, oh, this is an animation, so like, yeah, he can scare away. It's like it's a sea dragon, but it's like, if a dog came up to you, you'd be like, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of how I was interpreting it when I first saw it. And that's again, I got to tell myself to chill a little bit, where it's like, we got to go somewhere with this, right?
For sure, yeah. No, there was plenty of moments where I was like, okay, because there was a lot of characters that were omitted that were, you know, very integral to the story. Rest in peace, Johnny and Yasuko. Zoro's bounty hunting brothers.
Yeah.
They were really cool in the anime, and they were just kicked off. So it was disappointed to not see them.
Yeah, and I didn't quite understand why. So in the anime, the little girl comes up to Zoro when he's like tied up, and they did it in the bar instead.
Yeah.
And then they kind of wanted to have everyone be in that same scene, and I didn't get why they made that change. I kind of felt like Zoro kind of getting free, but then he's hanging in the bar. Like maybe it was kind of like to show that he doesn't really care. Like I'm strong anyways. Yeah. But there was just like little subtle changes like that I was kind of like I don't think you needed to like do much with that. And on that note too, that was probably the weakest set to me. Maybe that one and Nami's village. I thought like they could have maybe done a little bit more. That kind of felt like we ran out of budget a little bit.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like,
but
and interestingly enough, like those were not Nami's village, but the Marine base was like the trailer scene that we saw, and I was like, oh, they had so many like actual cool shots all over. But land, like you can clearly tell that was the set.
Right, exactly, and I think honestly that had to be like one of the first sort of things that they shot, and then I'm sure, and then like Oda probably saw the footage. He was like, yeah, we got to clean this up a little bit more, you know. But man, overall, I was happy with it. One other sort of complaint I had, my dog Usopp, man. I feel like we should have got a little bit more with that arc. Where he was like a liar, you know, he's running around. They didn't have the kids, bro. Like, they didn't have his crew. And to me, like, again, it's not the end of the world. And then Kobe showing up there, like, it wasn't the end of the world. But I'm like, that's just one of those changes where I'm like, I don't think we needed to differ from the anime there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they focused heavily on building up Usopp's romance. Instead of like building him up as the they just had him do the boy who cried wolf in the beginning, but there were several things in the anime that he did that was just
over and over. It was like 4 or 5 times. Yeah,
and even throughout, like when Captain Curl was about to attack the village, he lied again to his crew and said, hey, like I told you, because he runs into the village and tells them, hey, the pirates are coming, and they don't believe him, obviously. But when he actually defeats the pirates, he tells his crew to go lie to the village and just to, you know, make sure that they don't worry about pirates ever coming to the island. And taking out that important part about him lying for good, it just kind of made him feel sleazy, like just this lying guy who's not as strong as everybody else.
And it felt like, and I feel like it just, see, it wasn't executed properly. It felt a little like messy, and like I felt like the audience doesn't know Usopp. You know, I feel like they don't. I'm not convinced that Jamie Lee really knows who Usopp is. You know what I mean?
Right.
But there were some really good moments where, like, you know, at the end when they're like, he's like, yeah, man, you know, I went up and killed the pirates, and they were like, yo, chill out. Yeah. Like, and he, the actor crushed it. I loved him, and I want so much more of him, bro. I think about him and Luffy fighting, bro. I'm like, I'm gonna be crying when that shit is in live action, bro.
And that's such a build-up because you can already see the relationship. I think, you know, they start to flesh that out more. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That moment to
big,
if they build up that relationship.
Exactly, and even like when like Luffy kind of like gives him credit, right? He's like, yeah, Usopp's the GOAT, bro. Like, that's my dog. Like, I'm just like, exactly. I loved it, man. The chemistry between the speaker was Chopper on the screen, bro. Him, Chopper, and Luffy together. Oh my God, that's gonna be like the dream team. You know what I mean? Man, the fact that, you know, we're going to get Chopper next season. Like, people like Jamie Lee, they like these characters. It's just, it's going to take, honestly, this is no shade to Star Wars, but I think what we saw with Baby Yoda is going to go like, it's going to be like,
when
surpassed.
Depending on if they go with that. I know a lot lot of people are nervous about how they're gonna interpret Chopper.
Yeah.
You know, I think we were discussing it before. Somebody was like, "Oh, they should do it like Yoda and do a puppet style, or have like somebody
Pikachu
as Chopper with makeup." Because he's such an interesting character. He can't exactly look like a reindeer. Like right now, that image we saw, he doesn't exactly look like a reindeer. He looks more like a stuffed animal or something.
Yes.
In the anime, they call him
Stuffy.
a red raccoon, or they call him a tanuki or something like that.
Yeah.
The depiction of
raccoon
is really up in the air, but I mean, I trust the group to
Man,
get it right.
I've seen that image that was just on the screen so often, like it's just burned in my brain now. Where it's like that's the Pikachu from Detective Pikachu that they edited there.
Oh, they altered. I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that really worked for me. Like in that movie, like it felt like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It didn't feel like it was cheesy. It felt like it was there. They got to have the right actor for that too, man. It's got to be the right voice. They honestly might low key want to get the same voice actor. Like for that, if they can. To like, and obviously Japanese, but like, you know, if they can get something kind of close to it, like,
for sure.
Because that's gonna be really, that'll be, yeah, like you said, that's hit or miss, man. It's really hit or miss. But yeah, I think it's gonna be. I overall, man, like season 1, like what did you love it? What was your takeaway?
I would say I'd probably go like 8 out of 10 or 4 out of 5 maybe.
Yep.
That's kind of like where I'm feeling, only because I think some of the characters omitted were just like so cool, like Django, for instance.
Yeah, Django, yeah.
Hypnotizes his crew members to get stronger, and Luffy falls under the hypnosis, and he gets super strong and their ship.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, reverse it," and he falls asleep under the thing. So like. That would have been hilarious to see, and
yeah,
there were just so many characters that were just like left out where I felt like they would have served the purpose. I
agree. I feel like they should have like I think we could have used a little injection shot of comedy, you know, in this. Oh, yeah. I think, but at the same time, you know, what I keep saying back and forth is like you could really lose that like new audience with that, because I don't like if they don't fully get the tone and like what works in an anime. Like I said, bro, I just wanted them to try to figure it out just once. Nami punching Luffy in the face, where his face just.
Then too, like it's kind of like you can already see how standoffish Nami was.
Right.
Kind of feel so comfortable to just punch Luffy like, oh, you're such an idiot. I think
it wouldn't have.
To like just fans like, oh, like
definitely.
So to hit this guy that she barely even knows, and you can see.
Yeah.
That's one thing I liked how they kept Nami a little far away from the crew.
Yes.
She said, "Oh yeah, we're not a crew with Zoro." She did that way more, and
right.
And then when she just turned on everybody, they executed Nami perfectly. Like
I agree. Yeah, and I was nervous about Nami. I don't know if it's just because I feel like in East Blue, like she's up there for me. I really loved her character. I love that she when I first saw it and I was like, yo, Nami, what? She's with the swordfish? What? I was like, yo, that threw me for a curve, bro. Like the first time I saw that, I think I hit you up like, what? It's like I was hyped, man, and. Now, like, every time, like, someone's watching One Piece, like, I just gotta get the reaction from that, because I'm just like, yo, it was such a dope moment, and it was such an Oda moment, too, you know, like, to just throw you off like that. Do you remember, because you watched it so long ago, do you remember how you felt when that happened?
With the Arlong Pirates.
Like when you found out that she was, like, with them.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I had a few animes under my belt, so I knew it wasn't for long. Like,
yeah.
It just felt like whatever the situation was, there was a reason. So
yeah.
at the time, it wasn't like as big of a twist.
Yeah.
Watching it in the live action, that felt way more like, whoa, like she was a person. So
yeah.
I got more reaction from watching the live action than
That's fascinating. That's fascinating because when I talk to people who watch One Piece, I don't know, like if because you guys watched it when you were like, kids, teenagers. So like you're watching something when you're a kid and teenager. A lot of things go over your head. You're not interpreting it the same way, right? And like me watching it as an adult, I kind of was like, I had this like almost naive sense, I think, where I'm like, I wasn't really as nihilistic, I think, or pessimistic. I think I was kind of like, no, like how could you not like Luffy? Like how could you not like Luffy's like down for you and he barely knows you. You know what I mean? So and I think it's because like when you watch it as an adult, you kind of like the reason we watch movies and TV shows is because we want to see the world that we wish to exist in real life, and so to have that sort of like, no, like she's got her own agenda for her own reasons. I loved her background. I really did. And I thought they did a great job in this with the background animated sort of time that we had, because that arc when Luffy kind of just like, she's about to like stab herself and Luffy stops, I remember just being like, man, this show is something else.
Yeah,
this is something else.
And actually it's interesting because I'm surprised nobody kind of brought there's a lot of stabbing yourself like between Luffy and
right.
It's like, it's funny that nobody like brought the comparison. But I want to know, like, how did you feel about Arlong and the Fishman design in general?
Before that too, I agree about 4 out of 5. I think as a fan, I could give it a boost where it's like a 4.5 for me, where I'm like, and especially when you think of like the history of how this could have gone, like I can give it an inflation rating of a 4.5, but I think as someone who's just watching, I was a 4 out of 5 for me, but I think it was necessary so that we can get a dope season 2. I think season 2. I think we're gonna cook in season 2. I really, and there's no excuse for them not to at this point, because now we know these characters. Going back to Arlong's design, I was nervous about it. I didn't think it was gonna work, but it ended up working for me actually. I don't know if you saw, but in the trailer there's a comparison. Arlong is a lot smaller, and they beefed them up. I was glad about that. I thought they could have maybe made him even bigger though, to be honest with you. But yeah, but
I agree. Like the scaling, I would have loved for him to be a lot bigger too.
But overall, like especially for a fish person, I thought I was gonna be like, oh, this is weird, or like, oh, this isn't working, or oh, this looks cheesy. But it felt like it was natural to me. How about you?
Yeah, I felt exactly that. I think it was very natural. Especially the scene where like his teeth get punched out and he just regrows them, but then there's blood in the places where this guy's a monster, and so Luffy's up against a monster now.
Yeah.
Fishmen in general, they were I got used to the designs because it had to be realistic.
Yeah.
But I was kind of upset that we were missing Hachi because we're like, oh, evolved people. Why Hachi? And it made sense. You gotta animate 8 limbs.
Bro.
Guy maybe like.
Good luck doing that with Nico, Robin, and Hachi. You know what I mean? Speaking of devil.
I feel like, but not Robin might be a lot easier because maybe she won't have it directly on her body, but she can. Have
they could just get AI to do it too. AI is great at making 8 arms. So.
Hachi would be like, whoa, like.
Yeah.
But I feel like he would have been a better threat than Karubi. It's weird that they chose him to be like the fusion of Hachi and himself, because in the anime Sanji fights Karubi.
Yeah.
And Zoro fights Hachi, but now they double team Karubi. So
I think when I think about the live action, that was something for me that I was like, it's a sacrifice that made a little bit sense so that we could have that payoff later. I think what they'll do later is kind of be like, oh yeah, you were the Arlong pirates, and Nami kind of be like, I know that jerk or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that could work.
I think they'll do it more like that, because I think the way it feels like, I don't know how you feel with this live action, is like, it's almost like they're no more. They're dead. They're gone.
Yeah.
Now that, rather than like, oh, the Marines got them. You know what I mean? And I think Oda says no one ever really dies unless they like explicitly say, right?
Yeah.
But I think with a live action and like something like Netflix, they kind of want to. If Hachi was like with the crew involved or around, like it would kind of be like, is that guy dead or like what happened to him? And then like you said, when you think about just the practicality of it in the budget, even though they had a huge budget, it's like those set design is really probably what the big budget went into because these are all new actors too. And then you think about how successful this is, and with the strike going on, these actors are gonna get paid next season. You know, so it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be real interesting. They're gonna have to figure something out here, man, because Hachi, man, I that's gonna be dope if they can get it right.
Well, I think if they like when they because he'll come back in Sabaody, but like if he does come back, Zoro has to spar with him because the exciting part of Hachi was the fact that Zoro's weird. He has 3 sword style, but now you gotta go up against 8 swords. What's better than 3? But
right, yeah, exactly. And when I think about like I don't know, like this, that's gonna. I kind of think that would be something I would love if they didn't go CGI, where they went more puppet with it, where it's like a guy in a suit, but the arms are like puppeteered. I think that's how you sort of execute that.
Spider-Man.
Doc Ock.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll have to be like that. One quick blooper, funny moment. I don't know if you noticed, but Zoro is fighting in that Marine base, and you can see at one point when Mackenzie has his sword, it bends on the ground because it's like plastic. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. Oh,
yeah, they got to go back and edit it at this point because people saw it, but yeah, it bends. It's like for legit like half a second though. You can't see it.
No way.
But you know how these fans are, man.
Right.
But
I'm gonna say that's hockey.
That's hockey. Man, so you see on the screen here, I got a lot of these different characters, and like there's a lot of speculation on who should be what. One character, why can't I remember Doctor's name? The doctor.
Dr. Karina.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Karina. So I remember during the pandemic, and this made me go, what? Jamie Lee Curtis said her daughter is a big One Piece fan, and she was like, Mom, I don't care what you have to do. I don't care if you have to take a pay cut. Please, do this for me. Because she was like, for her daughter had a wedding, right? And it was like anime themed, so people had to dress up cosplay. And she was like, my wedding gift, please, if you could do this for me. Be in One Piece and be Dr. Bro, and so she was like, so my daughter mentioned it, and, something I want to look into. I think I kind of do look like her, so, like, we'll see. Bro, if they got Jamie Lee, but Jamie Lee just got, I think she just, did she win the Oscar? I think she won the Oscar, right? And for everything, everything everywhere.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she might be out of the budget at this point. Maybe she's, like, flexing on him. But, man, that's a wedding gift. Yeah. Bro, that would be so for the culture. It would be out of control. She would have to, the whole hood, man. She can go to any cookout she wants to, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, bro, we'll bless her. We'll make sure they remember her. Like, her name.
Good, but, like, this is, like, you've got a lifetime membership.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Man, you gave us Freaky Friday, you know what I mean? Like, this is Halloween. But nah, like, that's a perfect casting to me. That's one for me. I'd be like, yo, if they could do it, that's one of those, like, you just
make it happen.
Yeah, make it happen. But so, yeah, I was talking about season 2 with your bro, and I was, like, talking about where I think it's going to end. Just give me, like, a quick sentence. Where do you think they're going to end season 2?
I think they're going to end season 2 kind of like how they did with season 1. They're going to end it at the start of Alabasta. So,
the start?
The start of Alabasta, yeah, because in between we have
Logue, yep, Reverse Mountain.
Which I think they can do in an episode. Then they have
Reverse Mountain. No, it's Reverse Mountain.
Reverse Mountain. And then after Reverse Mountain is Whiskey Peak.
And Little Garden.
Whiskey Peak is going to be phenomenal. I think that's the episode like everybody will be excited for because Zoro fights 100 people at night, and I think they'll show all of it. And the funniest, I hope they stay like true to the anime them, and like he's just straight up fighting everybody while they're sleeping.
Yeah. That's an iconic episode, bro, man. Like they went crazy with that, and then we get Vivi, I believe, in that arc too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And, after that is Little Garden, where the Giants are gonna be there. I know that's gonna be like, maybe they might like show the Giants sometimes just to make money. But who knows how they're gonna do that in their fight.
Yeah.
And after that,
Drum Island, Chopper.
Drum Island, yeah, with Chopper, and they can really close it out with that because, like, with the Sakura plants falling down and everything, and setting off the Alabasta, chef's kiss.
Here's my take, and this may be hot. I think they may end it with Alabasta, but knowing how Netflix be, I could see them maybe ending with Skypiea, bro.
Whoa.
That's crazy. I know, but hear me out. So episode 1, I'm thinking, this is what I wrote down. Episode 1, Logtown arc, you have Luffy sort of mirror Roger, right? They sort of set off, and I think that'll be like kind of mirror the first episode we got in this season. Episode 2, Reverse Mountain arc, I think we'll get, one whole episode. They may make these episodes longer too. We'll see, but I think an hour, right? Season.
Maybe even a 10-episode season.
Bro, they'll cook if they do that. And then episode 3, I thought they may combine Whiskey Peak and Little Garden, bro.
Whoa. Well, I mean, they could do that, yeah.
And it's again not what I would want.
The only reason why is because the best part, because I was saying the 100-man fight was the best part. The fight between Zoro and Luffy, they gotta, that's gonna be a good part.
I feel like they may sacrifice and not do it, bro.
Ooh, oh man.
I would hate it. I would be sick. I would be so sick. They would lose my respect, but
the one big part though, I don't know. I wonder if Oda is gonna give as much guidance with the second season as he did the first, because at this point it's like with the first season they took 7 years, so this was really like Oda wanted to get it right. Now it feels like anything else, this is more in the hands of Netflix, and they're on their timing, their schedule. So
nah, bro. Listen, I understand capitalism is rampant, and that people think I know best, bro. Netflix has flopped so many animes, and the fact that Oda came in, did his thing, and this is blowing up, and this gave him another Stranger Things Wednesday. Put it like this: the girl from Wednesday, the main actress, Jen Ortega. She is now a producer on the second season, a writer, and they got rid of. She was like, I hated the romance stuff. Get rid of it. It's gone. That's Jen Ortega. So I mean, Oda is Oda. So I feel like it's not even about Oda coming to them. They're gonna go to him, in my opinion, and be like, hey, can you kind of supervise this a little bit, because it's just such a hit. Like, I knew we would love it and we happy, but the fact that it's getting other, bro, I've had so many people DM me this weekend and be like, I'm starting One Piece, and I just been like, yo, crazy. I never thought it would be like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, damn though. You know what this means though, right? We gotta get used to these every other week chapters, bro.
I know, yeah, bro. I think that One Piece. I know he said it's gonna end in 3 or 4 years. This ain't ending for 5 or 6 years, bro.
Especially too. Somebody brought up something important. I was like, whoa. A lot of older mangakas are starting to they're starting to drop off. For instance, Kishimoto, the creator of Naruto, who's working on Boruto now.
Yeah.
Dropping into Shonen Jump's monthly releases. There's a great chance that One Piece may become a monthly manga at some point. So,
wow. That would kill me, bro. But I mean, as long as they give us long chapters, maybe, then I'll be.
That's the trade-off. So,
yeah.
Instead of just 12 to 16 page chapters, more 30 or something like that.
Yeah, they would, but as long as the integrity stays the same, I'm all right. I'm all right. And this is the thing. Oda's been doing it since he was like what, 16? You said?
Yeah, like 18.
So it's like, bro's been doing this for a long time. If that man says I want to take a month break to vacation,
that man take a break.
You gotta let him do that, because you look at I heard that was it Naruto or one of them had like the creator got like sick or like just
Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah, and it kind of fell off a little bit, right? So I mean, that man got to stay in good health. That's all that matters to me, you know. It's the least that we can do as fans is to, like, you know, take a break. Go watch them.
There was one big point I forgot to mention. The beauty of this live action is that everybody, and this is not just like the actors, like everybody who was involved, like they would almost die for over how much they were loyal to the story. Like, there's few series that you find everyone. You want to get this right.
Everyone, man.
That's the power of One Piece.
I saw an interview, and the crazy thing, this is crazy. Saw an interview with the cast, and like they were asking them questions about, you know, the anime and like, you know, the background and like, you know, who are the warlords and all this stuff. Guess who the one person didn't really know that much about it was? Guess who it was?
Who?
Take a guess.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know.
Luffy, bro. He's the one character, he's the one person who was like, I think he started watching it like when he got cast, bro. All the rest, they were like huge fans, and like I think, and it's so Luffy. It's so Luffy. It is, you know, and what's crazy, and I think he was watching it for like a couple years and stuff, because, you know, they were working on it.
When I was thinking at first, I was gonna say Carpet. That's wow. Okay.
Yeah, he didn't. He was like Nami knows this like it's Bible, bro. Like, she's an anime fan. You know, the woman who plays her, like she knows it in and out. But yeah, it was really interesting to me, like, that he didn't. But I felt like it almost works, because like Luffy's character needs to be in the dark, but just only thing that really matters.
Yeah.
Only thing that matters is that he knows I love these guys. And when you watch him on tour and like the way he reels them, you like he'll die. He'll take a bullet for him, you know. And I saw something. Go check out his page. What's his name? Iñaki Godoy. Yeah. Go check out his page. I just saw he posted something on Instagram about his sister having alopecia and stuff. And like, you know, it's something that they've dealt with their whole lives, and it's like really powerful. And I'm like, man, like, this kid is Luffy. It's crazy, because like, excuse me, to have such a tragic, sort of painful thing go through your family, you would have never guessed with this guy, because he's so jolly.
That, like, you can tell, like, he really embodied it right after, because he went on like a 2-month voyage and over in the seas, just traveling, because he was just impacted by the story so much. So like, he embodied Luffy's essence, even though he didn't grow up a fan.
Yeah, and like it's to see him and Oda like meet each other, and he like almost like shed a tear. You could tell he understood it. He got it after, you know, whatever. And like for Oda to be like, this is incredible to me. Like, this is the character.
Right.
I mean, as someone who's a creative, as a writer, like to have that moment to like when you're like, yo,
your character came to life.
It's scary, you know. It's out of body experience, and like to see those two just be like click, and then to see Oda's like room, how messy and chaotic it was. Like, it's just, man, you can just tell the passion that went into this project. And again,
well, speaking of that though, that literally looked like the inside of his mind. I saw him looking at his wall and trying to piece like
dissect
inspirations that he had. Like, it's literally like pop culture all over.
Yeah, man, and that's why I said I give it a 4 out of 5, but I'm like, I give it an inflation rating of a 4.5, because I'm like, the detail, the heart, that you can just feel the heart that went into this. Like, you could tell that they were like trying their best not to disappoint us, right? And I really appreciate that as a fan. So let me get back to the season 2. So episode 4, I thought after Whiskey Peak and Little Garden, I think episode 4, I thought we might get some Baroque works sort of thing, which I know isn't quite in order, but I felt like maybe they might throw a little bit in there and with Vivi for season 4, maybe a little bit of her background. I don't know. Season 5, I thought that would be Drum Island and Chopper, and I thought there would just be one episode, to be real with you, and I feel like it could definitely be more, but I felt like seeing Netflix's vision, I could see them sort of just, they get there, they meet Chopper, we get Chopper's background, and then, like, Luffy's kind of like, come with us, and, like, you know, I could see them doing it in, like, a one-episode thing, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3.
I think that they can if they nix Nami's, like, Nami being sick, because that was kind of like a big influence for everything.
Yeah.
And then Chopper kind of came along with it.
And the reason why I thought and I'm glad that you brought that up, because I think the reason they may not do it is because they just did it with Zoro. And
that's true.
And so I'm like, maybe that's the trade-off, but you need Nami to be sick because he's a doctor. He's a doctor. You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole point. So I don't know. But I do think we're going to see a lot of parallels between season 1 and season 2. And then I said season 5 would be the Drum Island with Chopper. I said episode 6. Episode 6 would be Alabasta. I thought 6 to 8 would be all about Alabasta. But then based on the pacing that I have from 1 through 5, I was like, I could see them doing Alabasta through 6 and 7, and then maybe 8 kind of where they wrap it up, where we get into Skypia, and then boom, that's it.
See that only because Alabasta, a lot of Luffy lost a lot of times. They can cut out.
Yeah.
Luffy losing the
Crocodile
twice, and then just have it be one fight. So
yeah, like episode 6, like he loses. Episode 7, he comes back victorious. Or maybe, that he loses again to kind of show that Luffy is just not strong enough. And then 8 is where he's victorious. And then we wrap it up there with a banquet, right? And then I think my guess is that we're going to get a little bit more of the world government in this season, where at the end it's kind of like, they show the threat that Luffy's starting to become a little bit, that he's mucking it up a bit, to show that the power and the political hold of Alabasta. But the moment where they leave her, or Vivi doesn't come with them, and then you get the X, bro. That's like, I think, to me, that's where they should end it. Like, let it be there. Let that be an iconic moment, bro. The amount of taps that are gonna happen after that moment. Like, everyone's going to have a with an X, bro. It's going to go crazy,
All of the friends, the friend groups are going to just have that tatted.
It's going to be dope. So that's, for me, where I think that they should end it. So, but you said that you think that they should end it at Drum Island?
At the beginning of Alabasta, yeah.
Okay. So for season 3, not to get too ahead of us, you would want to see them go through Alabasta and then hit Skypia in G7?
It'd be nice, but pacing-wise, I can't see that happening. Like, it just seems like they would have to cut so much where I'm like, all right, yeah, this is too much for me. Like, I'm excusing a lot for the first. No, I'm not excusing a lot, but
yeah, I get you mean.
Excusing with the first season.
Yeah.
And I feel like if it's kind of like, okay, this wasn't a trial and error thing. This is we just got to get rid of some stuff. It won't last too long.
Yeah, the fans are gonna start to turn on them for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like the most that you can go is, to me, through Alabasta next season. And that's pushing it, but, like, I think we're going to I know the fans, we want it. We want that, like, to have Whiskey Peak be a thing and, like, them to take their time. I don't think that the big heads will get it, bro. I really don't think that they will. I know the showrunners will get it. I think Netflix won't get it. They're going to be like, we're just in this little town, like, why would we spend all this money to do this town and this scene? Like, let's move the Straw Hats to the next big island. You know what I mean? I think in their head, they see it as, what are the big islands that we have to hit? Not, they don't get the in-between. That's why, Little Garden, like, I was talking to your bro about it. I think he said we might not even get Little Garden, which
But that seems like it could be done, because everything
Yeah.
happened in Whiskey Peak, and then you just head to Drum Island right after that. But dang.
Right.
You know what though? The story about the Giants is for the end game. I feel like by scrapping a lot of end game stuff, you can kind of speed up the
you can
the different types of stories.
You can always bring it back in different ways, I think, too, potentially.
Yeah, like alluding to it and just like, kind of like how they had the wanted poster of Cavendish, who we don't see Westvosa, things like that. I think they can allude to a lot of that stuff. Because I think ultimately the goal of the live action is to get potential fans to watch the anime.
Yeah, and I think
have to get everything. Because like they're not gonna get to Wano. There's no way, unless like they do a whole recasting every few seasons. There's no way that they're gonna get to Wano. So.
Yeah, I mean, to get to Wano would be just insane. I think the thing too is, we don't think about it because we're such like, we're purists, right? We've seen it all. But I think the thing about too is that Nami has her own sort of adventures that she has before she meets Luffy. Zoro is a famous pirate hunter, right? So he's got some knowledge. So and then Sanji too has seen so many pirates and stories come through that you can even have him kind of be like, yeah, I heard this story about these giants that exist, and Luffy being like, what, giants? Oh, we gotta check this out. What giants? And then Nami being like, idiot, we have to keep going this way, like like that kind of thing. Where for us as fans, we would want to see it, but I think that there's ways that they can execute it. But if Netflix tells them, I'll let you guys get to Wano and have the pacing, I trust it at this point. I feel like season 1 was to get their trust to do, like, we'll give you the budget for season 2. Yeah. Season 2 is going to be their trust to kind of be like, I'll give you the pacing that you want. For season 3.
The only issue with pacing is like it's tough when you're dealing with like real lives because it can take 25 years to draw these characters the same way.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have all these people age out who are consequential to the later stories. It's almost impossible to imagine that they would get the story to that point. So I think in a lot of ways the story has to be rewritten in order to kind of land it at the end of every season, where it goes back to, okay, will somebody go and watch the anime at this point?
Yeah.
And if not, we'll keep telling the story, but it's not going to be one to one to the actual story that you know.
Right. No, that makes sense. It's just, I don't know. It's so hard. Like, I think we have to accept that it's not the same thing.
Exactly.
We just have to. We just have to, and we have to appreciate it and trust it. That it's like, because like even them adding in like the thing with like Luffy cutting himself, like that was a really that was a great addition that they had that we couldn't have really maybe imagined before, but like it worked. So we just gotta trust them, trust the process. Now, one thing I want to do before we wrap it up here, because we've been going for a minute. So we have a lot of different things going on the screen right now. Characters, sort of castings. We talked a little bit about Jamie Lee Curtis, Chopper. Is there any of these that we have on screen that you're like, yo, I would love to see that? Or is there someone else that kind of makes you go, like, ooh, that would be kind of cool?
That Jason Momoa Kaido, that looks awesome. That looks incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, the Kaido is crazy, and I mean, we get Kaido at that point. We got the budget, we're good to go. There's trust in the system, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it will be work. But as you mentioned, like, because they was realizing it's like, okay, when we get there, how old is Jason Momoa gonna be?
Exactly.
Like what does that look like? I really like the Jim Carrey selection there.
I do too. Yeah.
Like, and I feel like even if he is old, it can still work. And he's someone who can play sort of bizarre characters. And just seeing him and Yaku together, like that could be a really interesting dynamic.
That
would
really, be great match. Oh my god.
This like because he's silly in a different way, but like almost like reserved and like young and youthful and like okay. Where like Carrie is very like out there and like no what, and so to see those two sort of be like dumb and silly and but like in different sort of ways, that'd be some incredible acting going on there, man. Incredible.
For sure.
I think one thing that I'm like curious about next season is Robin. Like who they cast for Robin is gonna be really really interesting. Like you see the multiple arms there, so like how do they go about that? But like Robin is Russian, right?
Yes. But me personally, I'm not too like
attached
on Oda's depictions on who the characters should be or like racially.
Yeah, same.
As long as the characters, because I think with the casting too, I think they went 1-to-1 because Iñaki is I think he is Brazilian, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
So they went 1-to-1 with the this casting. Usopp, African American. I guess 1-to-1 there. But
right.
If they didn't cast somebody who was Russian for Robin, like all they need to do is carry Robin's. I hope they're tall.
Same.
Because that's one big major thing about Robin. But
and she has to look.
I love. Yeah.
She has to look a little older, I think, too.
Absolutely. She is older. Yeah.
And but one thing that kind of threw me off, but it wasn't the end of the world, is Sanji, because I thought Sanji was a Frenchman.
Right.
But he's British.
Right, exactly.
But it still works.
I think it still works perfect because Taz, like he nails it. Like when he's flirting, like the smile that he has, he just nails.
How about a little extra for you? How about a little extra for you, darling? And like just a little winks and stuff.
Exactly.
You know, I love when he picks up the check and he's like, "Oh, this is a good one." Yeah, Jeff's gonna be real mad about this one. And then, because one thing I love that Luffy does, like, just bro, that was probably one of those moments where I was just like in tears laughing. It's like, when Luffy does that thing, he's like, no. Like when he's just like mad, like, why do I gotta do the dishes? And like, I love seeing him so like powerful and like obviously he can fight and stuff, but he just kind of like, yeah, I didn't pay. Rules are rules. And it's funny because it's like rules are rules. Like, like
as a pirate too, but he's grateful for the meal. So it shows like Luffy's willing to do whatever. Like when it comes to food, he's willing to do whatever.
Yeah, and so they said Vivi's from Egypt.
Okay.
And that's what I have here. I don't know, how 1-to-1. That's what they said.
That makes sense, Alabasta, of course. But
looks it.
Even there too, like they can get creative with Vivi. I wouldn't mind it too much.
Exactly, Sam. It wouldn't really bother me, to be honest with you, that much. One character that I'm really curious to see is gosh, I can't butcher the name. Ivanko. And I know that we're not going to get that anytime soon, but like that's one future character that I'm curious about because like it threw me off so heavily when I first saw them, but like the whole arc, bro, it's just that is peak writing, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just such peak writing, man. Like I mean,
I feel like Jack Black would be incredible.
Jack Black.
I haven't seen Jack Black under the beard in a while. If ever to shave it, it'd be that.
Man, it's hidden. This is like Brooke. Like, how do we do Brooke?
Right.
Exactly.
So that's probably where the cutoff definitely would be Brooke.
Yeah. I mean, and Luffy's girlfriend too.
Boa Hancock.
Boa, yeah, bro.
Yeah.
But that, to me, they have to go full comedy with that, man. They have to.
Oh yeah.
Because Netflix, they love a good romance and all that. I want to see like hearts around her and like and create like that, and I want Luffy to just kind of like be just so oblivious to it, just like a young boy is to like a girl's love. Like I just, man, if we can get
because you mentioned the hearts around. I think one thing that's super important to this is to try to shy away from animating expressions.
Yeah.
And they did a great job because they could have done it with Sanji. Because Sanji,
Yeah.
anytime you see Sanji, you look at Nami, he has hard eyes.
Right.
He just has a smolder that works. So like in the same way, if they keep that just like realism with it, I think it'll always work.
Yeah, definitely. But Boa, they're gonna have to find someone who's just absolutely gorgeous. It's kind of like like a Medusa sort of character where it's just like everyone is like, oh, you know what I mean? Because I think even Nami at one point is just kind of like, whoo, she's beautiful. You know what I mean? And so they got to really nail that. But they got to get. Let's stick to season 2, man. Just let's get there. They got to get my boy Chopper down because Chopper, Usopp, and Luffy together, man.
Yep.
That's Michael, Scotty, and Dennis Rodman there. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just that's the trio, you know.
Comedy trio for sure.
Yeah, but all right, man. Anything else you got to say before we go? We've been going for an hour and a half here. It's been beautiful, great discussion. Anything else?
I just gotta say, it's been a great year for One Piece. It's been a great 2 years for One Piece. And thank you for going off on a whim and starting this series so we can get to this point.
Yeah,
I know,
bro.
you definitely grinded it out, and like to be able to talk One Piece with you like this has been like it's basically a bucket list of mine, and I'm living it, and we're just chatting One Piece. Like it's incredible to be at this moment with you and to share such a masterpiece with you too. So.
Yeah, man. I can't stress enough, bro. Check my page, check Yao's page for the gift I got him for introducing me, man. Because
craziest gift I ever gotten, guys. You definitely got to check that out.
Yeah, but I can't stress enough. Like this has blown me away in ways I can't fathom or even think of, bro. Like I never thought that I would be an anime guy. I remember for the longest I was just like, everyone talks about it. Because I grew up on Dragon Ball Z, and my cousins were such big Dragon Ball Z characters. Fans. And I always thought it was kind of whack. I was like, these guys always screaming, and then like I was like, they're sitting in the same spot forever, for episodes and episodes. So I couldn't understand it as a kid, and that's what I mean. Where I'm like, you watch it as an adult, and even Jamie Lee, she's kind of like, I don't want to watch it as an, But like, it's because we all have this perception of what it is, but you realize as an adult when you watch it, this is written for adults. This is an adult. And animation television show, and kids can certainly enjoy it, but like, man, beautiful. It's beautiful. And I'll end up with this, man. I saw this quote on Twitter. It said, One Piece is the only series you will ever see dominate 3 entire mediums all in a single week. Manga, anime, and live action. And when I read that, I was like, yeah, Oda's something else, bro.
Something else. Because think about that.
Sensei Oda. Excuse me. Oda-chan.
Sorry, Oda-chan.
Yeah, something else, man. It's just an honor. And for him to still have that childlike wonder after all these years, inspiring. It really is.
Yeah, it inspires everyone. Like, and I mentioned it before, but exactly, like, One Piece is the only... It's probably the only art form that is able to just capture everybody to, when they're working on this live action, to keep that integrity, because everybody understands where the value lies in the series. So everybody comes in and they understand the mission that they need to deliver to the world. So
exactly,
that
everyone gets
the power of One Piece.
The team gets locked in, like something we've never seen.
Yeah.
Like it's something that like we in an American television and cinema, we like people tried to get to, but like they just failed to with like Marvel and Star Wars and all. Like I mean like I watch Star Wars and I'm just like it does not hit the same for me. It just does not. I try and I love space. It just doesn't hit the same way. And like I think it's because maybe it's under Disney, and Disney has that control. But like with this, people, it's like, if let's say Disney bought One Piece, there's a level of like you have to know and understand what you're dealing with. And Netflix, what they've done with this project, with this live action, you could tell that they knew the sort of intellectual property that they were purchasing, and that they were like, trust the creators here, trust the artists. And I'm hoping, honestly, going back to the strikes, that more of these people understand and start to see this of like, you give artists control. They know what they're talking about. This is their life's work. You know, I get it. You want to be involved. Your job is to fund the project.
Yes.
Give the artist control, and that's where I'll end it, man.
1,000%.
All right, man. Well, it's been a pleasure. If you're still watching, thank you. Go check out Yao on TikTok and everywhere else, YouTube, Instagram. You can find him on Twitter, X, wherever we're calling it these days. Yao, just always a pleasure, brother, to talk to you, Big Thunk. Love you, my man. And as we always say here, everyone, peace out and
see you.
Absolutely. All right, take care. Peace.
Peace out, everyone.